I've been able to discover through a very painful and humbling process. Now, the enemy is great about humiliation. God is about humility. There's a very distinct differentiation between those two. So if you feel humiliated this morning or if you feel shamed, I can tell you that that origin is not found in God. But if you find that God is bringing you to a place of humility and healing and redemption, that's where it's coming from Him. It's emanating from His character. It's emanating from who He is. So my message really is about finding Noah, because we're all about Noah. We're all Noah. But it's also about finding grace. And grace is, if you can look at it this way, grace is a girlfriend or a wife or a significant other that is only attracted to your imperfections. So all of my Muslim brothers, again, they have a very defined construct for justice. And they live in fear all the time, because they don't want to do bad things, because then bad things will happen. So there's no real warm fuzzies between them and Allah. A lot of fear, a lot of angst, anger, violence, all this stuff kind of comes bubbling out because it's not a real healthy connection. It's not out of love, it's out of fear. And then you have a bunch of other religions that even might have a construct for mercy, where you don't get what you deserve, you're actually being withheld. The bad thing is being withheld from you. But then you have this wonderful thing called grace. And I loved it when C.S. Lewis was with a bunch of scholars one day. They just said, what is really the difference between Christianity and all the other world religions? And he said, oh, it's simple. It's grace. This is our exclusive domain that I believe is kryptonite and is a paradox that our enemy will never, ever understand, because he can't give it, because he's never received it. But grace is essentially not just a withholding of judgment, but it's getting something back really good that you don't deserve. God is trying to make something so obvious to me that this is what grace is. This is what grace does. It doesn't just deny the bill, but it pays the bill. It pays the sacrifice. It's what the cross is all about. It's why the enemy is so confused about the cross as the epicenter, because everything before and after the cross and during the cross, it all comes back to this moment of grace. In fact, I think you could argue that the King is now on His throne, who is Christ Jesus, and He's praying for us. Every time I feel down, I remind myself, the Son of God is praying for me right now. He's praying for all of us. He's got the bandwidth. He's got the technology where He can send individual text messages to 7 billion people if they have the right smartphone, right? And so He's able to connect with us as human beings, but it's this part of Him that's able to not only pray, but now all of a sudden we're moving into this area of grace. And she's kind of like this steward of the kingdom. And all of a sudden, we have a whole new dimension that is accessible to God because Christ paid the ultimate sacrifice. We don't have to do animals anymore. We don't have to go through all these rituals. We basically just have to believe that Christ paid the bill. That's the gospel, guys, right? I mean, it's right there front and center in front of us.